Hey Mike, it's me Ian, and in today's video I'm looking at this. This is The Last Valley from 1971. It's a war, historical, drama, adventure. It's perfect. I love it. You know, I love history, and to top it all, it's the 17th century again. Yes, I know you're saying he's on about the 17th century, but this time we're moving into Europe. I've always been talking about what's going on in England and Scotland, but now we're in Europe and there's a lot going on. Now, this is 128 minutes long, and it's set at the time of the 30 Years' War, which ran from 1618 to 1648. It was a war between a lot of the nations there, and it was in the guise of a religious war. But rulers were just deciding which side offered the best for their country. So it wasn't just a straight case of Protestant and Catholic. Rulers were quite clever. You know, they wanted to do the best for themselves and their countries, and, you know, could get the best. So they would choose sides on that basis. It's a very interesting period, especially as we in Britain, of course, have got a lot of problems going on with James I, Charles I, leading to a civil war. So we're quite isolationist, really, in terms of what's going on in Europe. And of course, the other side of it is that they'd been from England, the Puritans, and Holland, of course, as well, had gone to America. There's that side to it. They weren't looking to Europe. But yeah, no, I've gone on a bit, haven't I? So this is based on a book called The Last Valley by J.B. Pick from 1959. And it's produced, written, and directed by James Clavell. Now, you can see he's involved in everything. And if you're the producer, you could do what you want. And he clearly thought, well, I'll write it and I'll direct it. I'm paying for it. So there we are. That's what he did. Now, he wrote the screenplay, which is interesting, for The Fly, which is a great film, 1958. Also, the classic film, which is just an amazing film, The Great Escape, 1963. He wrote the screenplay for that. He also directed another quite popular film, To Sir with Love, from 1967. Sidney Poitier involved in that one. Now, the music is interesting because it is written by John Barry. Oh yes, John Barry, who of course we all know is linked with James Bond. And actually a great soundtrack. Absolutely great soundtrack to this film. Wonderful. Anyhow, we'll get into cast, shall we? And of course the cast is pretty impressive. And it's headed by who I think is an absolutely brilliant actor, who's now just retired over the last couple of years. I think 2023, 24 he retired. And that's Michael Caine, who plays the captain. When you look at his filmography, you just don't know what to select. I'm just going to do a few. Zulu, of course, 1964. The Ipcress File, 1965. Alfie, 1966. And then he did these Cold War dramas as Harry Palmer. Funeral in Berlin, 1966. Billion Dollar Brain, 1967. He was in the Battle of Britain, 1969. He was in, of course, the iconic film which everybody talks about with the car chase and everything involved, The Italian Job, 1969. And I'd say one of my favourite British films, Get Carter, 1971. What a film. Sleuth, he was involved in that, 1972. The Eagle Has Landed, 1976. A Bridge Too Far, 1977. Dressed to Kill, horror film, 1980. And I think the wonderful Educating Rita from 1983. What a film that is. I love Educating Rita. Then he was in a Woody Allen film, Hannah and Her Sisters, 1986. Mona Lisa. Oh, Mona Lisa. Such great films. 1986. He was in that. And then, of course, he got involved in Batman. So we had Batman Begins, 2005. The Dark Knight, 2008. And The Dark Knight Rises, 2012. Wow. Then Interstellar. He's in Interstellar, which I think is one of the all-time great films. What a brilliant film. He was in Tenet. Yes, Tenet. 2020. And his last film that he did was The Great Escaper, 2023, and he retired. But his filmography, if you go and have a look at it, you'll be amazed. Absolutely. Then we've got another actor that is very interesting. Omar Sharif, of course, who plays Vogel. He was in Lawrence of Arabia. I mean, Lawrence of Arabia, what a film. That's 1962. He was in The Fall of the Roman Empire, 1964, which a lot of people were involved in that one. He was in, of course, I think perhaps the role that he was sort of really well known for, as well as Lawrence of Arabia, was in Dr. Zhivago, 1965. He was in Funny Girl, 1968. He was in The Mysterious Island, 1973. He was in The Tamid Seed, 1974. And he was in Funny Lady, 1975, which was like a sequel to Funny Girl. He was in Top Secret, 1984. He was in 13th Warrior, 1999. And the last film I've got him down here is Rock the Casbah, 2013. There are a lot of sort of Egyptian films as well that I couldn't pronounce them anyhow. There's lots of involvement there. But he's also, I know, well known as one of the leading bridge players in the world. Yes. Yeah, he is. Then we have got Florinda Balkan, who plays Erica. She was in Candy, 1968. Royal Flash again, that just pop up quite a bit. 1975. Some Girls, 1988. And Millions, 1999. And then we have got Nigel Davenport, who plays Gruber. Nigel Davenport, again, he's a very familiar actor. You just look at him, you think, oh, I've seen him in various films, and you'll know why. He was in Look Back in Anger, 1959. What a film Look Back in Anger is. And he was in, I think, one of the great slasher films of all time. Yes, and it was revolutionary. Peeping Tom, 1960. What a film that is. If you've not seen Peeping Tom, that is a massive piece of film history. It really is. And then The Entertainer. We come across that one as well, 1960. And for me, an absolute wonderful historical drama in the Tudor period, which was A Man for All Seasons, 1966. Oh yeah, that film, spot on. If you like Tudor history, there's a film for you. And it goes into the political intrigue. It is brilliant. And then there's The Virgin Soldiers, 1969. And then there's a British gangster film, which is brilliant, starring Richard Burton. We again mentioned this lot, Villain, 1971. And it was in more history. It seems to be a lot of historical. Mary Queen of Scots, 1971. Then he was in a sci-fi classic, Phase 4, 1974. He was in Zulu Dawn, 1979, which is not a bad film at all. I think that should get a bit more. It's because Zulu is such a great film. But Zulu Dawn, good film. Then we've got Nighthawks, 1981. Greystoke, which is the Tarzan film, 1984. And then the last film I've got here is Without a Clue, 1988. That is Nigel Davenport. What a great collection of films. What an actor. So that is the cast. And I'll just give a bit of background about what the story is about. Well, we've got a mercenary leader, played by Michael Caine, who comes along to places and he doesn't believe in God. He's not, which at that time is interesting. He's quite outspoken. He doesn't believe in God, and therefore he will fight for any religion. He's not bothered. As long as he gets his money and his troops is with are looked after and they're happy with the money, then he'll take it to protect whoever who will employ him. That's what he's like. He's got no scruples about it. Is quite refreshing in this time where there's so much superstition and religion. You're either Catholic or Protestant. There's that mentality, which is not a good thing, as we know, because it leads to so many crimes on both sides, war crimes, and also within that society, we get in awful things that are happening to people. Witches being burnt. Anybody being accused who's opposing things, accused of a witch, men and women as well. Not just, I know a lot is focused on women, but men also, they could be said that they were being taken over by devils. They get rid of them, and people knew that. These rulers knew all this, and therefore religion could be quite useful for them to gain power in power struggles, and that's what they did. So in this film, what we see is that the mercenary leader joins forces in many ways with Omar Sharif's character, Vogel, who is a very clever, intellectual, scholarly man. He's a teacher, but he knows he's alive because he's useful to people, and he doesn't have a particular stance. People can't say, oh, he's this or that. Very good role this is. It's a great role. So he in fact helps Michael Caine's character, the mercenary leader, and they can keep the place safe, the town safe, the area, the valley. They can keep it safe. The weather is coming, and that will obviously stop. But then after, they can be ready to help if they need to prepare, because an inevitable grab by somebody else who discovers this valley, which may appear lost, but somebody is going to find it. It's called The Last Valley because it is that sense of, I think, in this film, it is the last valley that's safe. And they're there for this length of time, and then it's all going to explode. Because, as I say, in the background to all this, you've got all these soldiers traveling over Europe in war. War's happening everywhere in Europe, and all the 30 Years' War, and the toll on the people. Could you imagine the toll? And, crops being affected. So we got food shortages, and populations being reduced quite severely. This had a massive effect on Europe, and in many ways, Britain was lucky to keep out of it. But of course, it had its own massive problems, as I've said, with the English Civil War about to erupt. But I recommend this film. Absolutely. I was totally fascinated. Now, maybe it's never everybody's cup of tea, but even if it isn't, you must surely would enjoy this story and the cast. The cast is absolutely fantastic. You know, I mean, what more can you want? And the music's good. And the music, everything about this film is really good. I really do recommend it. It's a great film. It's just an epic, and it's done in such a wonderful way. And it's good to see a film about the 30 Years' War, because I've never seen a film where the 30 Years' War was the setting. And, you know, I'm excited about that because it's 17th century history, an important part of history. So this is win-win for me. Yes. And before I go, this is my DVD copy. I think it is available on Blu-ray. There it is. There's the cover there. There's the back. Absolutely brilliant. And yeah, the disc. Nice illustrated disc from the film. Absolutely fantastic. Love it. I recommend it. Definitely. Highly recommended. So that's it. Now, if you're new to my channel, please, why not subscribe? If you subscribe, we'll let you know when I put out videos. And if you look in all the playlists, you can see all the films that I've reviewed. And also I do TV series and bits and pieces, often with a nostalgic feel. Just have a look, collecting and stuff like that. Have a look. I mean, you might find something you enjoy. And if you like this video as well, give the video a like, please. If you give the video a like, it gets it out onto YouTube, and it's good for my channel. So please give it a like if you enjoyed it. And if you've got any comments, please put your comments down, and I'll always read your comments and I'll always reply to them. And that's it. Yes, I've gone on far too long, so all I've got to say is, I'll see thee again.